you did rehab a number of times, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you also did celebrity rehab. Did you consider that, would you consider that a real rehab for you?
Actually, I mean, squeaky wheel kind of gets the grease, and in my opinion, Dr. Drew took a lot of time aside with me, and I absorbed a lot from those groups. I mean, he's a legitimate addictionologist. I mean, he really knows how us kind of A-type, overachiever types, especially the prettier ones or he has a really good understanding of how we operate, both on a biological level and how the gene interacts with that. I learned a lot from him, things that I still teach other people to this day that have impacted my life 100%. I had been offered celebrity rehab multiple times. I had a manager at the time who's a complete douchebag, who kept telling me, "Hey, it's $100,000. Just drink a beer." I'm like, dude, I've been sober for 7 years. I'm not going to drink a beer just to go make $100,000.
Right.
And then the next year, hey, it's 100. It's more. Just whatever. And then I think like season 5 when I did it, I had been sober for at least 10 years. And I was like, well, I haven't drank or done drugs, but I inject a lot of weird shit. I mean, from B vitamins and glutathione. I mean, this is a million years ago, or not a million, but this is a long time ago when, now lipotropic fat burning injections are super normal. Now growth hormone you can get on a freaking app. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But at the time, injecting yourself a bunch of times a day with growth hormone and, procaine solution, anti-aging, all this stuff, TRT, back then it seemed like I was some kind of gorilla weirdo. Now it's pretty socially acceptable. It's kind of more normal. But I told him, hey, I'll make a big deal out of it. I'm pinning myself with all this stuff. It looks crazy. And he's like, I don't think they're going to go for it. And they dropped the number down. But so I went in for addicted to steroids, which, that is a very slippery slope. There is a cost for reward ratio there. There are more so the obsession with self and or the idea that if I get buff enough and ripped enough, then I will be happy. There is the I can't go out to dinners and or be as social because I got to do 2 workouts a day and I'm on this, 0 calorie diet or whatever. There are aspects of that can really cut you off from life. Yeah. And I did definitely have a good experience with the staff there. Bob Forrest, Shelly Sprague. Shelly, I still talk to Shelly. She's a beautiful human. She told me, that, I suffered from sobriety with a small S. That I didn't have a capital S on my sobriety. There was like a little gray area nootropic that kind of made me feel there was always something I was putting in the mix that was potentially blocking me off from really being part of or knowing that my side of the street was clean. And that stayed with me for a long time. Right. So I got gems for sure on that show. I got gems and beautiful gifts from the staff there.
Yeah. So we'll talk about your opinion on reality TV, so to speak, in a little bit, because I want to ask your opinion now that it's like all in the news right now. But I, as we talked about briefly, was on Celebrity Rehab the season before you, and I was asking if you had seen that season or you knew that I was on the season, but I didn't get an answer for you. Tell me.
Oh yeah. So it's the weirdest thing because I hear your name from like multiple people. Oh, do you know Rachel? Oh, you must know Rachel. Rachel, you can tell. Rachel, you can tell. And then they're like people like tell me about you, and it's just so cool that we're finally like on the show and meeting and talking. Because yes, I've heard that you were on that season. No, I don't believe I've seen that season and or a couple episodes. But it's like, you're just one of those people that like knows a lot of people. And we have like, I think a few friends in common. Yeah, so it's really, it's neat.
But similar to you, I had a great experience. So first of all, my father had died of a cocaine overdose. So I felt...
My dad died of a heroin overdose.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, it's
I
okay.
grew up being nervous about how my personality, I might have an addictive personality. I was sort of scared, just like with the fear of throwing up and the fear of drugs. It was very similar. I was just scared of it. You know what I mean? So, so I went into the show when they asked me to do it. I had just become famous because I was in a little scandal at the time. They were like, you should come on Celebrity Rehab. I had just been asked to do Celebrity Apprentice by Donald Trump. And I really wanted to do that because I felt like my name was all over the news at this point. It was 2009. And I wanted people to know who I was. And I didn't think the way I was being represented in the press was appropriate or true. And I had really become a recluse from all that. It really affected me. And I eventually decided to do Celebrity Rehab, even though I didn't feel like I had an addiction, so to speak, because I had a connection with Dr. Drew. He sat down with me for 30 minutes and I was like, this guy gets me. I need what he can offer, and no one else gets me like this. And I still have that relationship with him. Like, I feel like he just...
Please tell him I said hi.
I will.
I have a big question for him. He explained to me the addiction gene, the warrior gene, and science, and the mice, and how it's genetically passed down, and blah, 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 blah. And he told me the name of the book, and I can't remember what it is. And I've been emailing his manager or whatever, but I don't have the right contact, and I want to know what the name of that book is. So please send him my love.
I will ask him. I will get that answer for you. And I even have his cell phone number. Sorry to cut
you off.
No, I will give you his cell phone number after the show. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. Yeah. But my experience was so good. I was on there for love addiction, which I thought was a complete joke when I went in. I was like, this is so dumb. People are dying. Leif Garrett was on my show. He was completely coming out of a heroin stint or whatever you call it. And was going through a lot of withdrawal for the first 5 days or so, couldn't come out of his room. And I'm like, how do I tell people I'm here for love addiction? This is just embarrassing. But as time went on, I realized it's a real thing, and how it's affected me. And then over the course of years, I really saw that a lot of people that suffer from addiction, one of the addictions that it all starts with is your relationships, right? And love addiction is a huge part of that. Some people act out with sex addiction, which is different than love addiction, but I really saw how love addiction had affected my life. And the point of this whole story was that, people talk about reality TV being so produced and so fake. That was not my experience. I had an amazing experience. I learned a lot. I loved the group of 8 that I was with, or 7 and me. Unfortunately, 2 of those people are dead now from addiction.
Was it Michael Starr? Was he one of them?
No, he was, I think before me, it was Jason Davis.
Okay.
And Frankie Long.
Jason Davis.
Yeah.
Jason Davis. Yep. I knew him. Yep. Yeah.
So who was on your show?
We had Dwight Gooden.
Oh, I love him.
Pitcher. Yeah. We had the Long Island Lolita.
Oh, Amy Fisher.
Amy Fisher.
How was that?
It was very strange. Her husband threatened to kill me, to bury me live on camera. I made a joke. We were all at a dinner table. It was actually my sister. No, it was me. And I brought it up because I don't. Have you seen the Addams Family?
Yeah.
The original Addams Family. Wednesday pulls out a pack of serial killer playing cards. Okay. And she's like, I'll trade you an Amy Fisher for whatever. And I thought that was cool, and I brought it up at the dinner table, and they were so frigging mad. It was like such a sore subject. Like, I'll trade you a Jeffrey Dahmer for your Amy Fisher.
Right.
And I'm like, that's freaking cool. But it's years. Like, you haven't moved past that, what, obviously they hadn't, and her husband wanted to kill me, and he threatened to bury me. And there was almost a big fight. Meanwhile, I'm 200 pounds and I'm a 14-time Brazilian jiu-jitsu champion. I would have crushed him.
Right. So I take it you don't still speak to her.
No, definitely not. It was Michael Lohan, who, as you know, is quite the whirlwind himself.
Yeah.
And Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. He was my next door neighbor in Vegas for many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's a great guy.
He's a precious little little thing for sure.
Yeah.
And that actress from Blue Lagoon, she has a guy's name.
You mean Brooke Shields?
No, maybe not Blue Lagoon. It's another movie with the same guy. I forget her name.
Okay, well, whatever.
But I think she passed away recently.
Oh, from drug addiction?
I think she was definitely an alcoholic for many years. I don't know if she died sober or complications due to alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Ryan something? No, I don't know. I forget her name.
Okay, well, that's
anyway.
okay.